the Inland Rail project has been a really challenging one. That's not surprising in many ways. Australia is big and the terrain isn't always simple. If the original plan is kept to, it now faces a delayed completion date of 2031. It's doubled in cost in 2 years to $31.4 billion. Now, the details of the last section matter for all Australians. Even though it's in Queensland, it's important because it's the expensive bit and all Australians get to foot the bill. And it is this last section that's causing all the grief. Lockyer Valley farmers are concerned about the effect on prime agricultural land in that pathway between Toowoomba and Acacia Ridge, where the section is due to terminate. Beyond Acacia Ridge, it's planned to use existing suburban rail infrastructure. Now, if you ask me, sending 1.8 kilometre long double-stacked trains through the suburbs of Brisbane's south side hardly seems like a long-term solution. There's a growing movement pushed by local MPs Bert van Manen and Ross Vasta for the Acacia Ridge to the Port of Brisbane section to have a rail tunnel instead of dragging down neighbourhoods. The federal government has recently got a report saying it should go to a place called Ebenezer, that's a rural area west of Ipswich, instead of Acacia Ridge, and that to do so would save $1.56 billion. But Ebenezer's 90 kilometres away from the port. The state government aren't even ready to do a business case on that option, and it's not really connected to, well, anything right now. But member for Toowoomba, or Groom I should say, Garth Hamilton has an alternative option that would save $9 billion now and avoid the expensive work needed to get the trains down the range. Garth Hamilton, thank you for joining me tonight. Now, Garth, this train was meant to go to Acacia Ridge and then connect to urban rail lines, but the costs keep mounting up. What are the alternatives?
Well, there are plenty of alternatives, and of course, as you mentioned, Toowoomba is in my patch, so the
little parochial.
A little bit parochial.
Batting for your patch, that's okay.
I'll open with that. But there's a very clear option at Toowoomba that's fantastic. One of the most important parts of Inland Rail is that we have an open access terminal at either end. We have that in Melbourne, and we also have that in Toowoomba. What that means is that anyone can use it. No one service can dominate the line. Mm-hmm. Now, at Interlink SQ, we already have investment on the ground going there for that option right now. So this puts Toowoomba in a very strong place, and we've been investing in that area. We've been getting ready for this for a long time now.
How does the Ebenezer option stack up?
Look, it stacks up terribly is the answer, and quite frankly, for it to be the outcome of this report really sort of tells you all you need to know about the political cover that this report is providing. Ebenezer is not connected to the Cunningham Highway, but that's the only highway near it. It's a single lane highway, and at that section runs right through residential areas. So it's as poorly set up as you could have. Whereas at Toowoomba, we have the Gore, the Warrego and the New England highways all running through. We have the Western Rail Line connecting through, and we've got an international freight airport right there as well.
That's quite significant, I think.
Absolutely, it's very significant. We've just built the second range crossing that goes right through there. So $1.2 billion worth of infrastructure that is perfectly set up.
And it's top shelf too. It's really good driving.
Absolutely. Now, the important part is, why would you take something all the way from the Melbourne port into the centre of the Port of Brisbane and then distribute back out into Brisbane? The sensible option would be to stop before Brisbane and distribute from there into Brisbane. That's just very common sense. That last section would be done much quicker on road than it would be through rail, no matter what option you use.
So you're suggesting that there should be a pause of the Inland Rail project at Toowoomba and for the government to reconsider its options thereafter. Has the government considered this pause, and how would it fit with other proposals, like, for instance, connecting the Gladstone port to Inland Rail?
Well, look, I'm happy for it to pause. If it pauses for 100 years, I probably wouldn't be too unhappy either. But look, this is a sensible option for us to get ahead. What we've got to remember is why we need to pause, why the costs have blown out in Queensland, and that is because the Queensland Labor government refused to work with the coalition government at a federal level to get the works done. In New South Wales, the coalition state government there worked with the federal government, and they've got it done. The reason it's blown out is because Premier Palaszczuk decided to politicise it and try and make it a weapon. And now we've entered this period of high inflation, of supply chain issues that Treasurer Chalmers always reminds us of every QT.
And contributes to.
Absolutely. Comments on very, very well, no solutions. But this is why. Because we've dragged on, now these pressures are raising the cost. So pausing it here is a sensible option for Toowoomba. It allows us to prove up the line, to get some money running through it. and also allows us to consider what our options are. And the point about Ebenezer not even having a business case is extraordinary. And I think that shows that there's a long way to go from Toowoomba East.
Garth, finally, how are you going to get this over the line?
Well, I would hope common sense would be good enough, Amanda, on this one. But I think, quite frankly, the market is going to push it. The market is going to push it. We already have strong support on the ground. We have investment. The roads have been built. This is a perfect opportunity for us to use what's in front of us and make this great project work.
Well, thank you very much, Garth Hamilton, for your time and your expertise. You are an absolute fighter for Toowoomba.
Thank you.